Those were three songs from the Redettes. The first was called Under the Mistletoe, the single released by the band in June. The second was called Jackie Oasis, and the third was called The Undertaker Smile. I like how these songs are starting out with stick clicks, which is very drummer-centric, so I appreciate that. Alright, I'm going to go right to the interview that I had with the singer Sycamore Smith. Good guy, hell of a guy. Caught him when he was on a break from work. So here it is, Sycamore Smith from the Redettes. Welcome, Sycamore Smith from the Redettes to Discovery Corner on BTR.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Sure thing. And right now you're taking a break from work?
Yep.
Do you often have these like little sneaking things away from work?
No, not at all.
No?
Nobody is looking for me at all.
I'm the only one?
You're the only one, yeah.
Wow. That feels good.
Yeah.
So, is the band is it a full-time kind of band, or is it how would you characterize the Redettes?
I don't really know. I play solo, sometimes just under the name Sycamore Smith, and I also have another band in town called the Gray Beast, which is just like the Redettes, but with a different drummer. But all of us work 40 hours a week, and none of us are full-time musicians. I don't know what. But it's definitely more than a hobby to us, because, it's more than a hobby to me because I'll just never stop doing it.
Yeah.
It's always been my hope to only do music, but it's just not, it hasn't worked out that way.
There was never a time where things were going full-time for you?
No, never. I've always worked.
Yeah. How long has this band been around for?
The Redettes, I think, started in 2006, and then maybe we took a break for a year or two, and then came back maybe 2008 or 2009. Came back strong, and we've been steady ever since then.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess if you could go into
But
Sorry, what?
I've been playing music since the late '80s. Yeah, so.
Okay. So why don't you go into how the band formed, kind of it more in depth?
I had played in punk bands from the late '80s. A punk band from the late '80s until the kind of late '90s. And then that band broke up. I moved away from Michigan and just started playing solo, acoustic, more folk-based music. And I started doing that more and more through the late '90s and the early 2000s. And then somewhere middle of 2005, I started thinking, well, I'd like to take these folk songs that I've been playing in a folky way and rev them up the way I used to play the old punk rock songs. And, it's not exactly a new idea.
Right.
It was new for me.
Yeah.
The Gun Club had been one of my favorite bands since I was a teenager. And that was something that they were really good at doing. Taking an old blues song or an old folk song and turning up the volume on the guitar and
yeah. Who's the Gun Club?
Shouting it out. The Gun Club, Jeffrey Lee Pierce, them at all. They were an L.A. band from the 80s. Fire of Love, their classic LP.
I haven't heard
Just
that
an old
one.
band. I suppose it's a band that nobody remembers, but they were very important to me.
Yeah, were they a band that kind of got lost in the history books, or
I think they did. Yeah, I think they fell through the cracks. And the Jeffrey Lee Pierce, the singer, he died in the '90s, so he hasn't been around to keep his legacy.
Yeah,
he hasn't been around to keep his story alive.
So when you were playing in punk rock bands in the late '80s, what era was that of where you were?
what was my favorite? What kind of punk did I like?
Yeah, like where did it fit in at that time?
I was kind of coming off of like Replacements. I was a huge Replacements fan, but I also loved like '77 stuff like Wire and the Buzzcocks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. What was contemporary punk at that time? I don't know. I don't think I was a part of that.
Were you? Did you listen to like Naked Raygun?
No, I never did.
So like, were there like important Midwestern bands going on at the time?
Yeah. Gosh, I'm old now. There was the Magnolias from Minneapolis. I liked them. The Replacements, of course. Husker Du.
Yeah.
Jeez. I have to really go flipping through my record collection just to remind myself what I was listening to way back then.
I think it's a pretty comprehensive list at the time.
Yeah, I mean those were definitely some of the Midwestern type of bands that were around. I can't remember. I'm sure there was stuff in Michigan that was going on too. I just can't remember.
Was so when you like stopped playing that kind, was like going solo a thing for musicians a lot at the time?
There didn't seem to be as much like I have a punk band, but I'm also an acoustic guy. There wasn't a lot of that happening now. And so a lot of the people who listened to me thought of me as a singer in a punk band were a little bit surprised to hear me play an acoustic guitar and a kazoo, which was my solo instrument of choice.
Was it because was the music like mellowed out from what you were playing from?
No, I wouldn't say that. No, it was just different. The punk songs were a little bit more of a personal nature, and the solo stuff was a little bit more storytelling type of song.
Yeah, because I found that to be like a running theme, or not really a theme, but just like a device in your songs now. Yeah.
Well, I grew up listening to the Kinks. They always had interconnected songs and characters that would go from one album to the next. I just loved it. And
are you kind of like a natural born storyteller, like in your life?
I don't think so. No, not at all. I don't think so. I think it's just a lot of the musicians that I grew up listening to were storytellers. Harry Chapin was a big got a lot of spins in my household when I was a child.
Yeah, he wrote
and
Cats
that's
in the
all
Cradle.
he ever did. Yeah, he's Cats in the Cradle. But just about all of his songs are just story songs. And so I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a storyteller. And when I'm just out and about, kind of keep to myself when I'm out and about.
Yeah. So is like the music you're playing kind of a vessel for that?
I guess it must be. Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, it needs to entertain me, and it does. It entertains me,
Yeah.
And being that I'm not in high demand and never really have been, that's about all I can strive for is to entertain myself, and so I do. That's my goal.
Yeah. So what are some of the like running stories in your albums?
Oh, it's not. I don't. It's not a narrative that has a beginning and an end. It doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it. I don't mind having a character who's gets killed in one song and is back to life in another song, and then gets killed at the end of that one in a different way. I'm not opposed to that.
But if one character is getting killed multiple times, like how does it? Does
I'm not
it have
sure if
any?
that happens. I don't know if I've actually done that, but I think that's a good idea. I think
You wouldn't be opposed to it.
No, not at all. No, it's not. I don't have like rules for the universe that I'm writing in. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Well, there's a lot of rhyme to it, but there's no reason to it.
Yeah, so there's no consistency?
No, exactly. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
And they call me a wordsmith.
Apparently. So,
yes, there's no consistency.
what can you say about...
and that's I'm fine with it. There's no consistency, and there was never intended to be.
Yeah. What can you say about kind of the dark subject matters of your songs? What were they born out of?
I don't know. A lot of there's a line that I will use when people tell me that my songs are dark. I'll say, no, I think they're funny. And when people tell me that they think my songs are funny, I'll tell them that no, they're dark.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think that stuff is interesting and funny, and I guess that's just where my interest is. I think that that's the kind of stuff that, I mean, maybe I'm just a pessimist, but I think that's more true.
Yeah.
The darkness, it lasts, it lingers more than the lightness.
Yeah. Do you think that optimism has a place in music?
Absolutely. Yeah, it sure does. I mean, yeah, I do. I do think it does. I'm always optimistic that my songs will become obsolete in my life. So no, I do. I do think, I love all kinds of music that is far from dark.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, if you said that, kind of maybe the pessimism or the dark, I'm trying not to use the word dark here, but you know what you know what I'm going with.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah, if it's kind of like you said, it's like more real and more true. What would the opposite of that be? Do you think?
I guess like like if a song says, if I hear a line in the song where somebody says, I will love you forever, or something along those lines, I just say, no, that never happens. That doesn't really apply to me or anything in my life.
Yeah.
I avoid those sort of, that to me, that's just not true. It doesn't ring true. Never seen it happen.
Yeah.
Don't expect.
I mean, what does forever really mean anyway?
Exactly. Nothing is permanent but woe. That was the line. That was a line from a children's book that I used to read called Fungus the Boogeyman.
So that's where it all started.
It must be.
Yeah. Were you like what were you like as a child?
I was into Star Wars, just like everybody. But yeah, I was pretty shy.
Uh-huh.
I was a shy kid.
But like, did you have a less optimistic sensibility?
Well, I guess as a kid, and maybe even into my teenage years, I just felt like something was happening, and I didn't fit into it, and I didn't understand it, and I couldn't get excited about football, or I couldn't get excited about a lot of things that other people were getting excited about. I couldn't get excited about getting a diploma and getting a good job and getting a nice house and getting a nice car, and all of these things. They just didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, that
and
sounds.
I thought that it was for a long time. I thought that I had some kind of problem, but then I just realized, it's not going to fight this anymore.
Yeah, that sounds kind of like the beginning of like the punk mentality.
Yeah, I was always more obsessed with. I've always been obsessed with lyrics and music. It's just all I've really cared about.
Yeah. Did that like?
And it's not just punk music and lyrics, any kind,
Yeah. Did that kind of like
Wherever
outsider? Did that kind of outsider looking in perspective carry with you into adult life?
No, I don't feel that way anymore at all. I see. No. I feel much more comfortable in my skin, and just I really enjoy people now later in life. I really enjoy meeting people and listening to their stories, and that was how kids are, obnoxious.
Yeah. Did you find that there was like, you said that there was like a whole other like lifestyle that you didn't understand? Are you like more in like in understanding of how things work now?
No, I don't understand that at all. I'm not. It's just that it's not that I don't understand it. I guess I understand why people pursue that. It's just never been something that's been important to me.
Yeah. So the Redettes, is that kind of like a reference to 60s groups?
Redettes? It's actually the name of the high school girls sports team here in Marquette, Michigan. The Redettes.
Did all of the members go to the same, like, are they from the same place?
No. Me and the bass player went to that high school. The drummer is from a town that's maybe 10, 15 miles away.
Okay.
But we've known each other for a long time. We've known each other before we were in a band together. We knew each other.
So were they all like in on the joke?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
How's that team
Such
doing
as
now?
it is. I mean, if it is a joke, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we mean it as a joke, but
the reference.
What is it a joke? Is it a joke if nobody gets it?
That's true. If a tree falls down in the woods.
Exactly. Is it a joke if nobody cares?
It's just a name. It just becomes a name.
I mean, it's funny to us, but
Yeah, but not. Yeah, you have to get the fan base outside of Marquette, Michigan, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Out of that context, I don't know if it's anything but just it seems more like a reference to the Ronettes or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Which is fine. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's easier, I think, for people to understand than that's the name of the girls' volleyball team.
Obviously. Now, what was the decision to make a Christmas song in June?
I'm just kind of religion is another one of those things that I've never really been able to understand people's attraction to. So I don't know. It just kind of it just seemed funny to us again. But again, it's funny if nobody laughs.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated it once I read the lyrics.
Good. We had recorded the song, and we had meant for it to come out earlier. I mean, this is the boring truth. And it didn't come out on. I think it was going to come out on a compilation or something. It didn't get released, so we were just sitting on it. And I think it was in the springtime. I said, "Well, we'll release it in June, and that'll be the midpoint. We'll release a Christmas song at the furthest point from Christmas that you can get." So that would be June 25th or whatever. 6 months on either side from Christmas, and so I guess it's perverse.
Yeah.
But in quotation marks.
Is it actively like anti-Christmas because it was released so far away from it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's. I mean, I don't know if it's not necessarily a Christmas song. It's more of a breakup song.
A breakup song?
It's a breakup song that happens at Christmas.
Yeah. So the lyrical content, you said like that the stories, the dark, all that is like entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what.
I mean,
yeah. That was like the goal in mind.
Well, I mean, it's at some point it's all. I guess it started out as a way to deal with darkness that I was feeling, and I tried to understand it, and it worked. It kind of worked writing songs about that, and now it's all just kind of grist for the mill. Anything that happens, it just end up in a song somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess as a younger person, it was a way for me to work through my own, darkness that I didn't understand. It's a way to understand it. I kind of understand it now, and I can almost enjoy it.
Do you generally see tough things in your life as your way to deal with it is turning into humor and songs? Is that usually how these things become in your songs? Yeah,
that's how it. I mean, if I have to go through something that's heart wrenching, and I still do, you know, if I can go through it and come out of it with a song that I love and it makes me laugh, then it's, you know, it's hard to say that it was worth it, but at least it wasn't. I don't feel like it was wasted.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So now to close off everything, do you have, even though the band is not completely full-time, do you have any shout-outs or announcements or shows, anything that you could tell the world?
I just want to tell the world to Google Sycamore Smith and listen to the music that you find there, and maybe it's for you. And if it's not, I don't need to know about it.
Sounds good. All right, well, thanks a lot, Sycamore.
All right, well, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
That was my talk with Sycamore Smith from the Redettes. Pretty much as straightforward as they come. There's really no bullshit or fluffing in that interview. It's just straight facts. He didn't make a full-time music career. He's working. He makes music. That's it. And I respect that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that talk with the Redettes. To close out the show,